take your throne.
Okay. Whew.
The one and only.
Let's do this.
How are we here? How did you get here? How did you get from teacher of a bunch of knuckleheads at Cal State Fullerton to owning your own contracting business? And how is that doctorate of physical therapy coming along?
You remember that?
Yeah, you bet your ass.
Oh God. There were a lot of things that I thought I wanted to do and they didn't happen. And I was really bummed that they didn't. Like I wanted to be a PT at one point because I felt like I had expired in my career at UCI. And I thought, I have to go back to school. That's like the next logical thing. And my dad was like, honey, I don't think that's a good idea. And he was like pissed at me for wanting to go back to school. And I was like, I don't get it. Like I'm going to like improve my career and make more money. And he's like, I don't think it's a good idea. So I was like pretty pissed. But then in hindsight, I'm so happy it didn't work out. And I can now see his logic, I guess. And because he's a natural entrepreneur. So then, just COVID hit and shit got weird for everybody. And it made me really step back and reassess what I was doing at UCI, which was I was a fitness director. And then, before that, I had taught at Cal State Fullerton and everything I did was in the fitness space. And I didn't find as much joy in what I was doing anymore because it just felt like routine. And it felt like, okay, I kind of hit like a pinnacle of where I could go, like a glass ceiling, and I wanted more. I wanted to be in control of what my life looked like. And I talked to a friend / mentor at the time. She's a coach, and she was like, she kind of helped coach me through what I wanted. And she's like, okay, because I was looking at jobs. I was just applying to bullshit on LinkedIn and anything I could find that was like 150K plus, because I'm like, that's what I feel like I deserve, So when we talked, she was like, okay, so what it sounds like you're telling me is like you've got some like values that you have in terms of like work and career and all of these things. And she said, you want to get paid what you're worth. And I was like, fuck yeah. She said, you want to have the autonomy and freedom to like do what you want and be creative. And I was like, hell yeah. And she was like, it sounds like there was one other thing. I'm totally botching this right now. I kind of forgot what it was. But there were basically 3 things. I'm like, yes, that's what I want. And so she was like, okay, don't take any job unless it fits those 3 categories. And I was like, okay. So, I had been, remodeling our house and I was just having so much fun. I mean, you saw the YouTube or the Instagram videos that I was doing and it was like, I was just having a blast. And I was just like, I think I need to do this. And I jumped in. Ashley, my wife, just like completely supported me. And she was like, you know what you want to do. So I think it was just sort of like I can't say it was a calling, it wasn't like I had always wanted to be a contractor, designer. Like, no, that doesn't happen. Like life just unfolded and that presented itself as like a really fun, unique thing that I knew I would be really good at. And it was just like, let's fucking do this. So, yeah. And here I am.
And it's not like that knowledge just kind of like came out of nowhere. Do you have a background like helping your dad? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, so like growing up, I was playing with Legos, Connects for people who remember those. And then like my dad was always like buying and selling properties and he'd give me like these little like stupid odd jobs, like spackle the wall. Like I don't even call it spackle, but like that's what he called it. And so like I would do it and it's like, am I doing this right? Like am I making him proud, And so like, and it was always like so much fun when we were doing those projects together. And it was like, because we didn't spend a whole lot of time together other than when we were doing things like that, So I think that's where a lot of like my joy comes from is like just being like useful and being like value, like adding value, So, and it's tangible. You can feel it. You can touch it. Yeah. You can see the result.
Yeah. That little Callie, like being all excited, like, I'm making you proud. That was me when I was working with you that hot minute. When you were giving me these jobs, like, all right, take this little tool, set these tails. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this so perfect. So like, Callie can be proud of me.
Right? But it's so satisfying.
Yeah. So kind of going into like your fitness background, I think I'm referencing that article I read.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned you did some swimming.
Yep.
And then not a lot of people know this, I don't think at least.
Probably not.
You competed in physique.
Yeah, so okay, at the time it was actually called figure.
Figure.
I don't even know if it's called that anymore. I think it's called physique now. So But yeah, so I competed in that twice.
Yeah.
So.
Is there anything from your days as an athlete, competitor, that you still apply today?
Yeah, I
as
think.
A professional?
So again, like for some reason, this is going down like a dad path. I don't know, but like actually he and I are very close now in my life. But when I was competing in like water polo and swimming, he was always like, honey, you have to have the killer instinct. And like, that's always what he said. Or he said like, he said second best is like kissing your sister. And at the time I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I'm like 14, 15, you know, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, you know? Like, I don't want to kiss my sister. And then like as an adult, he's like, no, he's like, it just means that like you get nothing out of it. It's your sister. And I was like, oh. So I think though that mindset still kind of like stuck with me through everything I did. You know, it's like having that killer instinct, whatever the fuck the interpretation of that is. It's like such a dad thing to say, right? Like to your 12-year-old daughter, you know. But I think that really served me well because it made me just like willing to do the hard work, you know. So I don't know if I even answered your question, but.
Yeah. And are you willing to talk about any of the stuff that you did while competing? Or?
Yeah. So I met a coach just like randomly, spontaneously at the gym one time. And he was like, oh, you know, you'd be great for, you know, fitness and figure. And I was like, actually, I had been wanting to do that. So, you know, we got along great. He was a great coach. He kind of like took me under his wing. I think that's also why I recognize the value of having good mentors and like wanting to be a good mentor to this day is because as great as he was, like kind of like molding my body, if you will, he also molded my mind in a way that like as an adult, I don't want to say regret, but I think I just wish I were a little bit more keen on what was going on. So he was giving me steroids, which I knew. I was well on board because I had never gained a pound of weight in my entire life. It was like everyone called me Skinny Bone Jones. Like I was just really skinny and really like, I didn't look athletic. I just looked like not toned and skinny. And like, I wanted to look bigger. I wanted to like feel strong, you know? So like the thought of like, yeah, like we worked out for a while. Like he trained me for probably a year before I even like dabbled in that, but he told me the pros and cons. Like he told me what was up. He's like, this is what it's going to do. These are some of the side effects. So like he was very forthcoming with a lot of the stuff that would like happen. But I still wish like I was older and had the sense to think maybe that will mess me up later, you know, or like maybe that's not the best for my body or the healthiest, you know. It changed my voice. So like my voice is really deep because of it. And it's like, I don't mind it. Like I'm used to it. But I get mistaken on the phone for a dude all the time, and I just roll with it. Dude, I just roll because I'm like, I get better service as a dude. I know that's fucked up to say, but so anyway, going back to like the whole mentorship thing is like, I think he, you know, in a sense, took advantage of my like naivety in a sense, you know? And even though I did make the decision, I made the choice to take steroids, like as an adult looking back, I'm like, man, I was kind of like cheating, you know, like I didn't really, like you do the work, believe me, like steroids isn't like a magic pill. I was fucking crushing it in the gym. I was eating right. Like I was doing all the things, right? But it was like enhancing my results, right? So I think like now as an adult, it's like I look back on that experience and it's like, man, I really want to approach things with like, you know, just more of an ethical sort of standpoint of wanting to do things the right way, you know, standing behind results, things like that. And then also being a positive mentor to someone where I'm not leading them like astray or like down a path that like they might regret later, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that's what plays into, like that experience plays into me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So switching gears back to you as a business owner.
Yeah. What
have been the biggest rewards in being in this new industry, but also what are the things that maybe you know, either small business owners don't talk about or contractors don't talk about that just suck, are challenging and difficult to get past?
Yeah. Well, the first one I will say, so the benefits, it's a double-edged sword, just like most things. So I have the complete freedom to do what I want now. I don't have to ask a boss. I don't have to request vacation time. Like Ashley and I just took a 3-week vacation because we could, you know, and it's like, maybe my business suffered a little bit for the month of August because I didn't have money coming in necessarily, but it's like that was a choice I was willing to take. And I wouldn't say it's a gamble. It was a calculated risk that I took, and I was happy that I did that because we had so much time with our family. So that was great. And then the other side of that sword is that like, okay, I spend way too much time on shit sometimes because the job's got to get done. And it's like, I'm not necessarily getting paid for that. Sure, you work it into like the proposal and you want to make sure all of your costs are covered up front. And the way I do a fixed cost remodeling project is like, I tell them it's not going to cost any more than this, unless there's like some weird thing that pops up, right? So then I'm tied to that at the end, and I'm going over in hours, I'm going over in labor, I'm spending every day and night there trying to finish. Like, that's the hard part because that's not accounted for, and it's like, I'm not getting paid for that, So there's the risk obviously involved with that you take on, which sucks. And I mean, I've been lucky. People have been great with me so far. The clientele have been great. But like, there's some unique personalities that you have to navigate. But to be quite honest, that's no different from when I was a trainer or a coach, and you have to navigate all sorts of people. Like, their drama in their life, like you become part of that because like it's chaos, it's organized chaos.
Yeah. I don't want to name drop. First of all, I can't name drop because I don't remember the name. But I do remember
yes.
being at a job site with you, and just like the owner of the house, she would just basically dump and unload her day on you, and it's like,
yes, as
a trainer, you are somebody's I don't say therapist, but like you're just that person that they can confide in telling them about their day.
100%.
And it's just it's funny to look back at that job and like this woman was doing the same thing to you, and you're like, I just want to mount these cabinets, lady. Leave me alone. Today, things haven't been going the way I wanted them to today, and like you're just talking my ear off right now. Can't you see the earplugs?
It's right here. That means it needs to go back in. Yeah. And I would say, okay, there's another challenging piece that I wanted to talk about. What was it? I guess just like the unknowing of like, you don't know anything that you're doing is working. Like, okay, I could be putting out marketing. I could be putting out all this time and energy into like something specific. And it's like, I don't know if that's going to produce any results. So it's like, you just have to kind of like stay the path and like be true. And it's like, it's almost like fitness. Like, okay, you do a fitness program, even if it's like the shittiest program ever, would you say that like that person's still probably going to receive some sort of results? Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, you don't know that you're going to get results though until like 8, 10, 12 weeks later, right? So it's like, you really have to trust what you're doing. Same thing in business. It's like, I don't know, I'm putting out some marketing next week. It might flop, it might not, but it's like, I just have to stay that path and trust that it's like, there's going to be some benefit, whether it's a lot or a little, it's going to result in some benefit. And if it wasn't the best program, like if it wasn't the best fitness program, if it wasn't the best marketing, you tweak it later and you just fucking keep moving on, Yeah. So.
And so I guess to wrap things up a little bit, keeping your journey in mind from the people you've met, the mentors you've had, the kind of crazy switch in career you've had from being in the fitness industry, still in the fitness industry, which is kind of cool how you tie that together.
Yeah.
To today, what would Callie today tell 20-year-old Callie? What advice would you give her?
It's coming to me. This is not going to be profound in any way, shape, or form, but I would just say, like, don't force anything. Because every time I've tried to force something in my life, I tried to force PT school. Then I tried to force PA school because I thought that was going to be better. And someone told me, oh, you should do PA school. So, like, kind of two things. Letting other people influence what you're deciding to do with your life, and kind of forcing the things that you think you should do, because it's going to get you more money, it's going to get you fame, whatever your thing is, because it never worked out for me when I tried to force it, and when I just kind of let it like come to me. And that's the worst part, is like the patience. It's like I fucking suck at being patient, and I wanted to like keep trying to like push the needle and like, where am I going next? And like, I have to know. And it's like, you sometimes just don't know. Like, you have to try a bunch of shit And well, I hated that, or like that wasn't for me, and just kind of like figure it out organically as it unfolds, because you're gonna end up where you need to end up anyway. You know, it just might take longer than you thought. I mean, I was 35 when I started this business, so but I'm happy with that journey. Like, I'm happy that I experienced all the things that I experienced, and I didn't force this in any way, shape, or form, and it's just like blossomed. So it's like, that's kind of telling. Like, I didn't try and control it and morph it and shape it into something that I needed it to be. It's like, no, I just let it happen, you know?
Yeah, so life is just one big ass trial and error.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do to like change where you ought to be, I think, you know? Like, life's gonna take you there.
Yeah. Do you think 15-year-old Callie could see this coming?
Fuck no. Hell no. If anyone had told me you're gonna be a contractor one day, I'd be like, you're out of your mind.
You're gonna have a giant van named Tranny.
Yes! Tranny!
Loaded with tools. And you'll be just zipping up and down Orange County.
Just bebopping around with all my tools clanking in the back.
Phone mounted to the dashboard, just talking to the people.
I know. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Not us.
No. Oh, God.